Well, happy February. Been interesting times coming out around lately. First, I'll tell you what we're going to be doing tonight. We'll just want to talk again about the group's purpose so that you'll know. I know that you may or may not have read the different things I've written here and there, but the main purpose of this group is for me to bring you as much information and as many speakers that I can, so that you can understand what may or may not be going on in the world. The things that are changing around us. It's definitely a change. There's definitely a shift. There's 1,000 different explanations, and I'd like to present them all. But basically, it's just letting us know how to get through this time. This time feels wonderful for me. For a lot of the world, it feels very chaotic. So this is just a place where you can come and get information on how to just navigate through this. No matter how you believe the system that we're going through is or isn't changing, these are just tools that you can use, things that can help get you through. Health things, relaxation things, meditations, different speakers that you could listen to. Because the one thing I have found over the years, recent years, is there is no more guru. There are people that are in different positions, like the Dalai Lama. I have not heard much from him about the changing of the world except to meditate, which is nice, but we need a little more. So there's a lot more people stepping up. Some have totally different views than the other person. Some of them you'll find a common thread, though, running through almost everything that they're saying. So during these crazy times we're going through, the best advice that I can give you is to keep an open mind, okay? Be open-minded and attached to nothing, because things are going to change and they're going to keep on changing faster than you could ever imagine. We're going through to a better place. Out of all the different people I've been listening to online, in books, in every format that you can imagine, their information is different, and they all talk about a rocky or bumpy road, but almost everywhere in cultures and religious writings, they all say this is for the better. This is a time that we're moving into better, even in science. Science is talking about how the actual Earth is shifting. The Earth's core, which I spoke about last time, it stopped moving. It stopped turning. This is not unusual. It's happened before. However, each time it does that, the Earth tends to readjust. This time, the adjustment has been a lot more significant than they've seen in the past. Now, it doesn't mean that the whole world's going to turn upside down and have earthquakes, because the Earth is always changing. But those things may happen a little more often. But what also happens is the change in the frequency of the planet. The frequency, the energetic magnetic field that holds us on this little ball that's flying through space, and is changing just enough to make us feel the difference. Just like you feel when the moon comes out and the hospitals have the crazies and the babies coming in, because that all seems to happen around that time. These things have been studied for years, and it's true. It keeps the magnetic pull on the tides, and it affects us as well. So when we're feeling stressed, when we're feeling tight, when we're not quite sure what to do, this is the information that I'm trying to pass along. Now, just a quick reminder, I don't know how many of you have checked out on my website. I have a page set up, as well as some things in the Facebook group, but mostly on the Facebook page, I have listed what they call vaults and files. And it will give you information of people that you can look up. I did not do links or pictures or any full explanation of who they are. Just go through it and see what name speaks to you. That's using your intuition. Let that work a little more for you, especially during these times. Pick a name, Google them, see who they are. What are they doing? What are they talking about? What do they have to say? And by the way, if they start with the really negative stuff, just turn them off. There's too many people out there who are bringing information that's so positive. Doesn't mean that everything's perfect. It's not rose-colored glasses time, but we can look at it in a much nicer way. And in there as well is also some movies, videos, books. I've put some music on there that you can look for on YouTube, because as the energy in the planet is changing, we need to keep our vibrational energy in check. There are wonderful videos I spoke about once before, and the different megahertz that they are being played on can affect the way you feel. On that page, you will see a chart of which hertz are used for which. One for healing, one for relaxation, one for cleansing. I put one on regularly, at least once or twice a week, to cleanse the house. And this will just give you some information about how the whole energy works. There's also a video on there about, and Kathy Amber will recognize this, and I hope I say his name right, the Japanese scientist, Masato. You'll find him on there. He did an experiment showing the change in water when they use different energy and words and attitudes towards the water of something wonderful, something terrible, and something horrible. The energy pattern changed in the water itself. And these are the things that when you see it, you realize I'm made up of water. All of us are made up of water. If it's affecting that water, it's affecting us too. So just by watching these things happen, learning more about it, being more open to it, the more knowledge you have, the more we can share information, the more options you have on how you can think about things, how you can deal with things, and give you ideas of where you can go looking for more of what suits you. Now, each one of us are on our own journey. Yours may be going faster or slower than the person's next to you, but there is no judgment, right or wrong. One person isn't getting smarter and the other one isn't getting it. You're just getting different things. You have knowledge of different things. And in the new earth that we're moving into, where we're all going to have to come together as community and help each other more, knowledge in a lot of different things is a great thing to have. Because if I can't help you with this, I know somebody who could help you with that. And then I'll send you to that person for help. Or send you over there to find out something more about something that interests you, which I'm not too crazy about, but you need it in your journey. So as you do this, the open-mindedness to listen to everything, look for the common thread, see how things are working for you, okay? So that's the basic group message. And also with speakers, of course, you know, we have Rebecca tonight, which we'll get to in a little bit. I've got some people coming up in next month. The speaker who I had in mind had to move the date, so I'll be speaking next month. But I'm not going to tell you what I'm speaking about, okay? Because it's going to be a surprise. So, but then we do have in April 4th, that's going to be on March 17th, by the way, our next meeting, which is St. Patty's Day. So with the luck of it, with the Irish, yeah, I'll do a little jig, okay? On April 14th, and we're going to have Casey Robinson of Synergy Healing. And Casey is a massage therapist, cranial sacral therapy, Reiki, reflexology, and holographic health. She will be talking a little bit about the self-care of the body, mind, and soul. May 19th, we have a good friend of mine, Catherine Zimmerman. She's an international author and speaker. She's a certified clinical hypnotherapist, Reiki master, EFT practitioner, and the director of California Hypnotherapy Academy. And she's going to be speaking about and actually giving you techniques on stress relief using breathing and acupressure. On the 9th of June, we're going to have Shannon Duran, which is my niece. Besides for Courtney, who's younger than some of us in the group, we don't have a lot of 20-year-olds in this group. So I thought it would be nice to have Shannon come in and give us the youth perspective of how she sees and how her friends see the changes that are coming up in the world. How are they thinking? What do they see for the vision of the future? We're letting go of things in this time that have been around for us a long time. She's like, yes, so what? Big deal. No big deal. I'm used to change. I can deal with it like this. What are you talking about? No stress. So I thought it'd be interesting to have her come on, and she's a yoga master, yoga instructor, she's an artist, and she does a lot of work in the cinematic arts. So very creative ideas will be coming from Shannon. And then we have a lot more people coming up in the future. So if there's anything that you'd like to hear about, please send me a text message, an email, whatever, on subjects or someone that you know that you think would be interesting to have come on and speak. And also, as we go through the different speakers and things that we're learning on, some points I'm going to take further in my own separate classes. For example, just talking about the world and what's going on in it right now, it seems very chaotic. And how do you deal with chaos? You're feeling the energy. You're seeing it if you're watching TV, and please don't watch TV if you can. Just get the highlights from somebody. For some reason, my husband does wonderful in going through YouTube or the quick top subjects. This is what's happening. We don't have to hide yet, okay? So just to keep you up to date, but try not to watch the news and the chaos. That's the number one thing to help keep the chaos away. But we could also feel it energetically. So I'm doing a class on Tuesday, February 27th, called Calm the Chaos. And that'll be an hour-long session where I will take you into a hypnotic state, and we can deal with keeping the chaos out of your body as much as possible and finding that inner sanctuary that you can go into when you feel the chaos is getting too much for you, and just showing you how to deal with it much better going forward. The other subjects that I was thinking of bringing up, so if you think of more, I want to do more about grounding and earthing. Now, some of you may know most of this, some may not, and the more people we have coming into the group, there may be a lot more people that have never heard of some of these things or want to learn more about it. The third dimension to the fifth dimension, talk about Reiki and energy healing, vibrational and sound medicine, talking about the chakras in the body, the psychic abilities that is going to get a lot stronger in every one of us, at least our intuition. We're born with it. We're turning it off when we're kids, because the first time you say, I saw that man up there talking to me, somebody in your family told you, no, you didn't. No, there's no such thing as ghosts. Yes, they are, and we've all seen them. Okay, so, and also some meditation techniques. I posted on the Facebook page about a meditation, the art of meditation. It's a free course, which there's lots of wonderful free courses on the internet. But if you go there, the link is there. You can sign up for free. It's for a few days, and it will give you some wonderful techniques if you're having trouble meditating. And also, don't beat yourself up if you're not sitting like this in a meditative pose in total silence. I have trouble with that. My meditation is sitting by the water or sitting outside working in the garden. So I'm sure they'll talk about that type of things in those classes as well. So let me see. I'm just sorry. I'll make sure there's nobody else in the waiting room here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so with that, I just want to talk a little bit about our wonderful healthcare system. Our medical systems are breaking. Some of them are already broken. Some of them have been broken for a long time, but they just weren't showing it as much. The biggest thing we need to remember is not to fear this process, because the more fear we have of things breaking down, the lower our immune system will go. So we have to open our minds again and see, what can I do if the system is breaking down? Which Becky is here. Rebecca is going to talk to you about these wonderful things. First, I'm going to give you how my story worked with this wonderful medical system. I started having pains in December. Pains were unknown. They were around my stomach. Is it the stomach? Is it diverticulitis? I don't know what it is. And you can't get through the doctors because it's close to Christmas and New Year's. So not really getting any callbacks, not getting any feedback. By the day after New Year's, I was at the emergency room because I got a hold of my doctor, who said, even if I get you in here, I can get you a CT scan, and that's what you need. And even if I tell them we need this stat, you're looking at 3 to 4 weeks before they even get you on the books, if you're lucky. So after spending time in the emergency room, going through everything they needed, they discovered, oh, no, this is something else. You're going to have to go to a gynecologist for this. But I am not a patient of the gynecologist since I've been out here. I'm a new patient, so they can't see me till August. So while I'm waiting to figure out why I'm in pain, why I had to stop eating, I can't take any food down, I'm having all kinds of issues. I'm waiting for something that's hardly happening. My doctor has to push from the inside. I finally get through and I get to see them at the end of January. Well, yay. And I get in there and she said, what are they crazy? What you send him here for? No, there's nothing wrong with you. No, it has nothing to do with your uterus. No, you need to go see a gastro, who was the first person I called. And they couldn't see me until August either, so I call back, can you get me in earlier? My doctor pushes to get me in earlier. They push everything. And then I decide this feels so bad, it feels like the diverticulitis. I need antibiotics. I don't, ask Becky, I don't like taking my pills. I would rather do it all natural, and I was doing it all natural. I was doing food combining. I cut out different types of foods. I ate things that were gentle on the digestive system. I was taking herbs and teas and spices and all natural remedies, just throwing everything holistic I could. I had castor oil packs on my stomach. I was doing Reiki energy. I was doing stretching, everything I could. But the pain wasn't stopping. I called my doctor on a Wednesday for antibiotics. I didn't get them until Tuesday. It usually takes a few days to clear up. Well, by then, my body's already starting to clear up. So now I'm mad at the system. I'm frustrated. I'm on my own. So I keep doing what I need to do. Luckily, after a whole bunch of rather annoying phone calls to them, they managed to get me in a little bit sooner. By the time they got me in, here it is, middle of February. And they said, so what's up? I said, nothing hurts anymore, but there's still something wrong because I can feel it and I know it. So now I wait till April for more tests. And then they'll follow up with me in August. This is just a typical story because while I was in the waiting room waiting with two other people, their stories were a lot worse. And they were really sick. One would have been throwing up since December. We were there on February 14th. So it's harder here because there's a lot less people. In bigger cities, it may be a little bit easier to get around. But the truth is the system is breaking down. And we need to look to every alternative option that we have. Henceforth, Rebecca Roseberry is going to be telling us how she does it and what she does. Because with her help, I have learned about what nutritional things I can and cannot do, how to go into a fast and not kill myself over it and not starve either, and a whole bunch of other stuff that she's going to tell you all about. And also, Rebecca and we have a group that I started about, I think it was 2020, called the Helpers. And we started collecting all of the business cards from every helper, healer, psychic, anyone in those fields, and just put it in a PDF directory. And we're just passing that out and sending it to everyone. And we're in the process of updating for this year. There's more people moving into our area here in Brunswick County than ever before. I want to get more of them on board. And then getting it out to as many people as we can. Because people need to know when my back hurts and I can't get to the doctor, have you tried a chiropractor? Have you tried an acupuncturist? And all these other great answers that are out there, but they don't know how to access them. So Rebecca and I have been getting all this information together, and when we do, we'll forward it to everybody in the group. So now I would like to introduce you to the wonderful Rebecca Roseberry. Let's see. There's just so many things about Rebecca. First of all, she's a medical intuitive. For those that don't know her, I think many of you may know her already. Rebecca Roseberry has PureNEWtrition. She's a medical intuitive, nutritionist, clairvoyant, and healer, and so much more. This doesn't even cover it all. She's got a bachelor's degree in nutrition and food science, certification in total body modification, the Akashic field therapy, 13-octave La Ho Chi, and the Avatar Course Master Program, and just so many other things. And also, she's so wonderfully creative with her jewelry and all the wonderful little things that she makes with Anastasia Designs. So I bring to you Miss Rebecca Roseberry.
Hello, everyone. So thank you for watching. I can't see you, but I know you can see me and you can hear me. So anyway, so I call myself the Health Fairy, and I've been in practice since the year probably 2000. I also have a master's in nutrition, and I have my own healing technique that I crafted called Source Energy Technique, and a book, my first book called Wake Up, I Am the Cure. So I started, what I want to share with you tonight is just a little background. I got into this field very similar to what Denise has been sharing. When I was 13 years old, my grandmother had a stroke in my house and died in my living room, and she was supposed to be babysitting me and my younger sister while my mom was in California. And my dad wasn't home and my other sister wasn't home, and now, and I had called the ambulance, and they couldn't even find my address, and they were, and I'm like, I know where I live. Why don't you know where why don't you know where I live? It was very crazy. If you can imagine all of this. She was coughing and coughing and coughing, and then she just sat down on the lounge, on the chair, and went blue. And this is my second introduction to death, but my first introduction, because she was a close family member. So what irritated me so much and what got me into this field was I knew she had gone to the medical doctor like a week or so before, and had her medications adjusted and whatnot. And I thought, well, if you're a doctor, how come you didn't see this coming? That was in the back of my head. The other thing was, by the time the ambulance came, and they were so nonchalant about it, and they were not in a hurry, it was very disturbing. The whole thing was very disturbing. And it just reinforced my feeling that, you know what, if I'm going to survive, it's up to me. I can't rely on these people that are, healthcare professionals. I cannot rely on them. So I have to rely on myself. So that's what I teach, is helping people be their own healer. So I'll explain what I do. So in the evolution of my work, I started out as a nutritionist, and I thought this is the be all end all, putting certain nutrients in the body, healing the body naturally with supplementation and so on. And that, I would say, that is part of it. But as Carolyn May says, it's like the caboose on the train. So your physical body is actually the densest part of you, and it's last for things to show up. Meaning, I'll explain my gift, and what seems like very woo woo, like witchcraft, is that I work in the non-physical realm. So the non-physical realm is what initiates and creates the form that we see. So we have to get our heads in that, you got to think of it from that perspective. Like, that's where I'm coming from. I'm not looking necessarily at the physical body, but the invisible, non-physical energy that creates us, the good and the bad, the positive and the negative, right? So we create our health and we create our disease, whether that's consciously or unconsciously. So what that means is the unconscious mind is most dominant in the unconscious mind is what runs the show. That's how I explain it. And because it's running the show, that's where I'm looking. And I just want to give you an example. I know, because for those of you that are like, this is new to, I'll explain. So I look at people's hologram over the phone, literally. So I used to start in an office where a person was in front of me and I evaluated their energy field, similar to an acupuncturist, and using total body modification and contact reflex analysis. And I would scan their energy field. And then I realized that I could work off the body, and that my work was working off the body, because I could feel their aura and their energy field as I was working on them and assessing them. So now I work with people over the phone because the truth is that I can still access and read someone's energy fields because we're all connected, which is part of what Denise has been sharing, that because we are all in, I think what Carl Jung's talks about, the collective unconscious. We can feel so much of what's going on that is technically not ours. It's just the collective, right? So a lot of the symptoms that we may be noticing, the first thing you want to ask yourself was, is this mine? Is this my stuff, or is it out there? You know, like what's going on, right? To have that discernment. We could be feeling other people's emotions, energy, and it goes on and on. So when somebody is in front of me, or on the phone, I should say, because I have their hologram up in view in my third eye. Okay. Is this not crazy or what? But I could tell you that as a medical intuitive, I can start to see words in the aura of what's wrong with the person. I start getting messages. I start hearing things, sensing things that you cannot explain other than, it's like in my third eye. Angels could be coming in, deceased loved ones could be coming in. You just never know, right? But what I could see is beyond normal perception, and it's very helpful because I could see. Want to say I could replace a lot of the technology that medical practices use. I have that ability, and I'd love for more people to hone that skill for themselves. So when I'm looking at someone's hologram, I'll start to look for what's going on in that matches the symptoms that they're telling me, and then we go from there. So what is a symptom is actually, how do I want to explain that? A lot of times a symptom is just resistance. A big message that I would share with you as a rule of thumb in the game of life is surrender. That's a big theme. Another one is forgive or forgiveness. That, because these things trip us up as human beings. We are either in resistance or we're unforgiving. And at the root of it, it's actually towards the self. It's not even the person out there that we think that we have to forgive. It's actually this person right inside. And that usually is the road that I lead people to in a very indirect way. That's where we end up going. So I'm trying to think of how I want to shift gears in a second. So for those of you who have worked with me, you know that I muscle test, and some of you who don't know, it's otherwise known as applied kinesiology. And what it tests for is a yes or a no, or truth versus falsehood. It's one or the other. And I do this with my hands, just like this. It's very simple, and it's very bizarre, but there you go. And this is how I test for a truth or a false, or a yes or a no. And so when I'm scanning someone, and why would I use this? So good question. Why would I be saying yes or no? When I see their hologram and I'm actually navigating their energy field, I have a ridiculous amount of charts and maps in my head, and I go through them, and I basically am talking with the universe as to, am I going here or am I going there, right? That's the best way to explain it. So it's as if I have all these charts in a book in front of me, which I do, but they're not in front of me, but I have the book, and I have the person in front of me, even though they're not in front of me. And I sit there and figure out with them on the phone what's going on. And we go through many different doors of their physical body, their emotional body, their spiritual body, their aura. And I will scan their chakras, their organs, their glands, and we will talk and we will talk and we will dissect and go down the rabbit hole. I will talk to the patient's guides, always, their higher self, always. And let me tell you, besides surrender, besides forgiveness, what most disease is also, I'm going to just create a generalization, is that we as adults have to learn to reparent the inner child, because the inner child is looking to be healed. It's time for the inner child to be healed when you're an adult. So this is the big conundrum, to heal the inner child. And it sounds it might sound ridiculous, but the archetype of the inner child has wounds, even if you had a perfect childhood. So when these things come up, that's where I come in to help have that discernment. So if you didn't have me, you would have to, if you didn't have someone like me in your life, you would want to make sure that you're meditating for sure, and praying and journaling. Those are my three recommendations I always recommend for like daily psychic hygiene. But that's it in a nutshell, is we have this inner child that comes up that is looking to be healed. And rather than taking a drug or cutting a body part out, you have to actually heal that inner child through forgiveness, through listening to the inner child and making amends and being the parent that your own physical parents couldn't be for you at the time. And the reason why this happens, why we need to do this, is I mean, it's my personal if I had God in a room and I would want to choke him, honestly, is because of this mechanism, is I feel like some kind of fault in the human design, honestly, because we have all of these traumas associated with just normal brain development, and we get mixed messages growing up because our brain is developing, and then we misconstrue things and we carry them in energetically in a strange way. We don't know what to do with them. And then we become dysfunctional adults. That's essentially what happens. So I coach adults on how to reparent themselves and how to heal the inner child. And that literally calms the physiology and heals symptoms. The other point I want to make, it's a common thread when I am scanning people, is I almost always, because I can see people's thoughts that are hurting them, literally shows up in a banner over their head in their aura. When I dissect into their field, 10 times out of 10, I will find an I can't, blah, blah, blah. I can't. Okay. The reason why that is detrimental is because the essence of the person does not compute with the essence of the person. It just doesn't. The essence of the person is of a divine nature. It's from an authentic truth. So we are all walking around having, Christians would call it the Holy Spirit, but I like to use the word divine essence. Our divine essence is pure and is true by its nature. When you say I can't, it doesn't compute. And a symptom will arise because of the falsehood of that statement. Because the body, in a nutshell, the way I describe the body, it's like a bullshit meter. Okay. It does not like things that are false. And if you keep saying something false, it's going to present in an unpleasant way. That being said, so the way that I coach people is I have them shift out of the I can't, whatever that is, and then move into I am. Or if another option would be, rather than saying I can't, say I will or I will not. That's more, that holds more power. Now that I'm saying power, I want to just explain muscle testing is a test of power and truth. So that's what I'm looking at. When I'm seeing somebody, I'm basing it on the Christ consciousness, we'll call it the Christ consciousness template. So this is, to me, and this is something I've just crafted over the years. It's not like there's any one guru. It's just things that I grabbed from Christianity, which is Christ was Christ is taught to be one of the very few people that have ever walked the earth that calibrated at a high level of power and truth, the highest that a human could actually hold in their nervous system. So that is my Christ control, right? So I base everyone, when I test somebody, I'm scanning them with the comparison of the Christ control. And so I'm looking for energy that is essentially, we'll say, false or imperfect, and then help bring that person. Oh, I wanted to say the word resurrect. I wonder where that came from. And then we want to resurrect that part into. Oh, look, at my throat's going. Very interesting. We want to bring or have a rebirth in a particular area into more truth and power. Another word for truth and power is love, right? I put them all together: truth, power, and love. So that's the healing that I offer or guide people through. I also, and I know I'm just rambling and giving a lot of information, but I could take your questions in a minute, or you can always go to my website or call me. Um, I also, being a nutritionist, let me get some water. I do recommend whole food supplements that I muscle test. The whole the whole food supplements that I muscle test are, this is so funny, specific to the person's energy field. So if you know that if you ever walked into Whole Foods or looked on Amazon and you're like, what should I order? What should I order? Oh my God. Muscle testing takes the guesswork out of all of that. You can know for sure that what I'm recommending is for you. I ask the universe, I muscle test it, I check 3 times. It's, if you can imagine, there's so much crap out there. And the other thing too is everyone is looking to make money. They're, yes, they care about your health, but how do you know you actually need this product? Don't you read articles all the time that's like, oh, this looks good, this looks good, but how do you know you actually need it? So that's where I come in. And then, so you have working with me, you get the specificity, you get the exact dosage. And then I also look at food sensitivities and food allergies. Food sensitivities and food allergies at the core level, and this is another fun fact that I have found out, it's rooted in trauma. And I would probably say 10 times out of 10, I'll say nine out of 10 times, it's rooted in trauma. So I'm not the person to go to if you just want to remove a food group out of your life and just say I am healed. That's not healing. Healing is being in the environment, allowing the food to come in and not having the reaction, right? That's being healed. So, and I look at what potential trauma is in somebody's energy field. Trauma could come from any time in your timeline, meaning in this lifetime or another lifetime, and it's also going to be rooted in something where someone needs to, where you need to forgive someone, some aspect of yourself, or you need to change that I can't statement, and that's the beginning of the healing. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else, or if Denise wants to start taking questions.
You can keep going for a little while.
Okay.
You're on a
I'm trying to
roll.
think and see what the universe wants me to share. So in my book, Wake Up, I Am the Cure, it's about being your own healer. And I am teaching online energy medicine courses right now. I have a bunch of different ones that are on my website, but I teach. Essentially, I want people to feel empowered where they can muscle test or energy test themselves and avoid the doctor. That's the whole thing. Be your own doctor. Once you've worked with me and you feel confident, be your own doctor. When and you should see my cabinets of the supplements that I have. I have a lot of supplements. A lot. And so what I do every day is I'll go up to my cabinet and I'll muscle test which one I need, how many, and so forth. Whereas if you were working with me, it would be on a month to month basis that we would check in and I would tweak your protocol and advise you for the next 30 days. But you know, for me, that's how I do it. I have personally have not been to a medical doctor in well over 20 years, probably 30 if I really think about it. No dentist, no anything. And I'm getting closer to 50, and it's funny because I hear people, you know, when they turn 50, they have to go for their colonoscopy, and I laugh at the system. Oh my goodness. All of a sudden everyone needs to have a colon exam. It's a machine. It's a money-making machine. And I've also called it the merry-go-round of modern day medicine. Get off the merry-go-round. Get off and take care of yourself. It's easy to do, and I could say that it does require to have self-trust. That's a big one, to have faith in yourself. And if you need an accountability partner, you know, maybe you want to start your own group, but create that self accountability, so that you can at least trust yourself. Don't give your power away outside yourself to a medical doctor. That would be my advice to you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And Becky has helped me with so many things over the years, and it's just amazing the way she works. And she has become my primary. And even when she knew this was happening, she said, okay, first you got to do this, then you got to try that. I'm like, yep, I'm on it. I'm on it. I already had half the supplements that she thought she was going to recommend already sitting there waiting, because like I said, with the muscle testing, I mean, I love the muscle testing. It's so easy just to do at your house. I even do it with Nelson. I hold my fingers like this, hold whatever it is in this hand. He tries to pull those fingers apart. If they pull apart, it's weak. If it's strong, then that's for me. And then I know that's what I need to take. And this is the type of stuff that she can do, because even though I trust myself to a point, when I call her up, Becky, I need help. She goes, you know this. You know this. But I just need that little, oh, come on. But now, as I went through this, I only spoke with her briefly about it. And I decided I'm going to take care of this whole thing that's going on with my digestive system and everything else and handle it. And when I did believe in remembering the energy and the words that I spoke. So I didn't say, I have this, I have that, because I am creating the disease as I'm speaking about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Instead, I said, I am perfect. I am whole. I feel wonderful. And I danced around the room. That's my form of exercise. That's my form of fun, is just putting on music and dancing and feeling better, saying, I'm free. This is gone. This is wonderful. This is terrific. And the next day I woke up and I was feeling fine. There's still something that needs working. But before I call Becky, because I'm really trying hard to do this by myself. But before I do try, and then if I go, I can't quite find it, I'm not sure, I need a little help. But in the meantime, I have found ways to do this with a lot of the information. And also, I want to mention too, your book is also on Spotify. So people can listen while they're driving, right? Is it still on there?
Not yet. It's in the works. It's in the works, and it's going to be on Amazon Kindle soon.
Okay.
And what I also want to leave people with, because if this is like a strange commitment to even, begin, you can call me up and we can schedule a 15-minute free, complimentary session, and I could demonstrate what I'm talking about, and you could see if it's something that you want to move forward with.
Okay, so now let's open it up to questions and answers. So just if you can unmute yourselves, or I can unmute if you're not able to get to that. Does anybody like to start off with some questions? Michelle.
Hi, can you hear me, guys?
Yes, there we are.
Okay, great. I love this. This is wonderful. And I can really feel myself resonating with so much that you're both are saying. So thank you so much. I totally agree with what you're saying about how your subconscious really runs the show, and about the wounded inner child and the power of words, as that wonderful Japanese doctor demonstrated with his water experiment. That being said, I wanted to ask you if in your practice, what is sometimes labeled as a defect or a disability, often rather than being a source of um, trouble or problems or a limitation, can actually be a great gift and a great insight and a great source of understanding and intuition and empathy as you work with different forms and different modalities of healing art. Because you, in some way, you have to go within and find a way to connect to something higher or outside of yourself. And that, some people will say, well, you compensate so well, but it's really not compensation. I've come to realize for myself, it's more another door open that I was then led through, that I might not have been able to have discovered if I just had accepted that initial diagnosis when I was 9. Well, you're half deaf, and by the time you're an adult, you'll probably be fully deaf. So physically, that pretty much happened. But I'm not saying that it's all a bed of roses. There's some times where it's a real challenge. But for the most part, I'm so grateful for it. So I'd like to get your insight on that if I could, and thank you.
Is it kind of like you're trying to see if there's something that seems to be a hindrance in your body of some sort when you're first born or early on or as it comes with age? Is it always something bad that needs to be taken away or fixed, or is it a blessing in disguise type of thing because you're able to use all these other skills and features to get through?
Exactly. Thank you. You were very concise. Yeah.
Okay, Becky.
Well, so in short, we're all here on this planet to learn. So, what I would say is that some part of you already knew that you were going to come here and have this life experience to learn specific things that your soul came to learn. So,
Yeah.
and it sounds like you're doing a fantastic job and you have an exceptionally good attitude and that's well-rounded about who you are, and we'll say the challenges that you have, if you want to call it that. I feel like you've already see the gift in who you are.
Well, thank you. I guess it wasn't so much a pat on the back. I guess what I was really hoping for is that anyone who's going through anything where they're told that you're not going to be quote unquote totally normal, or you're not going to measure up, whether it's with your senses or something in your body, that it doesn't need to diminish you, it doesn't need to make you less than, it doesn't make you need to give up on life. You might have to make a few adaptations, but there's still so much you can do and enjoy and share. And if I had one wish, and I think you're doing an incredible job, and both of you, and what you're doing, it would be to give that reassurance to people.
Well, that's it. Just like Denise said, don't watch the news. I would say don't go to a doctor, because they don't teach compassion. They don't have the time or the space or the energy. They're just not skilled in that. They want to in and out, like a conveyor belt. So, when I work with people, it's for average 60 minutes of time where I'm listening and we're working through stuff, and it's from a place of compassion, and it just is lacking in that field. So I haven't found it to be very healing.
Yeah. Anybody else? Any more questions? You have to give me a wave. Courtney? No?
So Denise, what we could do is, Michelle is her name, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What I can do is tune in to your higher self and see what message or what the lesson was, because I feel like you already got the lesson.
Would you like to do that, Michelle?
Wow, that would be fantastic.
Okay,
I'll
yeah,
have
it'll
to
be
get
great.
your contact information and come see you. I would have loved that.
Well, let's do it right now, okay?
Oh gosh, I would love that. Thank you, but I don't want to monopolize everybody else here.
Oh, no one else
Oh,
seems to have a question, and we have some
Okay.
time, and this will give everyone a good idea to see, you know, Becky
right.
in act, see her in action. So, okay,
Awesome. Thank you.
Right. So I'm going into your higher self. I have permission to ask. Okay, so the question is, this, we'll call it disability. I don't know. They're all labels. Why did you come, or what was the lesson? What is the lesson? From a soul contract perspective. Yeah, your soul contract is, I came here to sense how beautiful life is.
Wow.
Sense, stressing the sense. So if you didn't have this condition, that would actually, you would miss that opportunity, right?
Wow. That
interesting.
really, oh, thank you.
Interesting.
I
You're
feel like a
welcome.
big giant marshmallow right here, right now. So thank you.
It was just it's just perfect. It's just perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let
You're
somebody else have a turn now. But thank
Okay.
you.
Hey, and thanks, Michelle, for being open to this too.
Oh my
That
gosh,
was
no.
wonderful.
Thank you.
See what else. I'll say, I guess just in summary, what you just said, thank you. Gratitude is very powerful for healing.
Yeah.
It is something that I teach and remind people about. If you're looking to heal, when you actually have a symptom come up, it's good if you can train yourself to do this, to say thank you. Even in the midst of some type of darkness or despair, continue to say thank you, as it helps to elevate your energy field and your consciousness and bring love and light to the area that is hurting or in pain, and that is the healing. So and to add to that, when people are looking back on their past and all the things that they went through that were dark or unpleasant, that I'm holding their hand through, you want to get to a place where you can say thank you for all of it.
All lessons, all things we're learning. We chose to be here.
Mm-hmm.
We're just navigating through this wonderful time on Earth. So even though things may seem strange and weird out there, we know that through people like Rebecca Roseberry, and also, by the way, and through like Michelle, who is also a fellow hypnotherapist, and people who can heal, people who are psychics, people who can guide us and help us through whatever it is that we need to learn, whatever we need to share with others, like we're doing now. I had to stop working 9 to 5 so I could take time to do this. Because the more we can share with everybody, you can all take this information now that I've handed you, or Rebecca's handed to you today, and share it with everyone you know. And then they can start looking up more things, and they will start hearing this. Because the big word is change. We're in changing times. We are going through a shift, major change. People usually fight like hell when they hear the word change. I don't want to change. I like it. I want to go back. I want to go back to the way things were before. And if I get rid of that illness or I get rid of this thing, then I won't have me anymore. Something will be different. But the thing is, and even Einstein used the similar words, change is constant. It is the one thing you can count on. It is constant and continual. There'll always be change. There's change in the length of your hair. There's change in the length of your nails. They didn't ask for it. You didn't plan it. You didn't do anything to it. It just happens. And like my husband likes to say too, you're not doing, you're being done. Okay.
That's good.
You're just going through life being done. You can drive that wheel down the road a little bit, but you know, you've got to just realize that everything is changing. And the more open we are to change, the easier things will be. So all the different things that you've heard that Becky talked about, if some of it saying, I don't know, or you'll talk to maybe other people, because if you weren't interested, you wouldn't be here tonight. But the other people, when you give information to, and they kind of look at you like you're crazy, and they go, really? I don't know about that. I said, well, have you tried it? You know, they also thought that men couldn't fly around in airplanes back in the 1800s. And here we are taking planes all over the place. Was that impossible? Was it crazy? It was a change. And then with that change, things happen, and it changed us. And that's just one of a million different types of examples. So even if people can be open just to listen. And the other challenge I thought too, when it came up recently, someone said, oh, I'm very open-minded. I was like, really? What can I throw at you then? What can I say to you that you will say, well, except for that? Oh, I'm open-minded except for that. It's like, so you're not really open-minded then. You've got, just one second, I have to close this. My husband had something on in the other room, was feedback. Just, I kind of lost my thought there, train of thought, but the bottom line is just ask people to be open about listening and say, how many things have you changed since the day you were on this earth? What has changed? What did you think was impossible that is now possible? If you can get that idea across in those simplest terms, it may help you to get the ideas over to them that maybe they need. And even if they're not willing to hear the whole thing, ask them at least to please hold on just to the thought in the back of their head, like a book they read. They're not going to deal with it right now. They may not use the skills right now, but they can keep it in their back pocket for when they can't get into the doctors until we can see you in August, but it's December and I'm hurting. I'm sorry, it's the first appointment we have. And now they have some alternatives because you've told them where to go to find this stuff out. So with that, the one little takeaway that I like that Becky mentioned, praying, meditating, and journaling, right? Doing that daily, Rebecca?
Yeah.
Yep. Even just doing that, and you can do that in the comfort of your home. You can do it anytime. It's free of charge. Nobody's watching you when you're doing it, how you're doing it. Just do it. It's a little thing that you can help yourself, because we need to do everything for ourselves now. It's the best way to do it. We've always had the skills. We just kind of started handing everything over. Now it's time to pull it back. So with that, I'd like to thank Miss Rebecca Roseberry for
Thank you.
going through that and teaching us all these wonderful things. And thank you, Michelle, for being open to doing that in public with everyone. I really appreciate that. And before we go, I think I'm just going to do a very quick, brief guided meditation for just basic healing. Okay. So if you'd like, just close your eyes and just relax. And just take in a deep breath as you breathe in peace and tranquility. And then breathe out anything that is no longer serving the body. And just imagine your body just being washed over with a cool, gentle energy, just flowing from your head down into the neck, the arms, the legs, all the way down out the feet. Just a never-ending washing away of things that are no longer needed in your body. Just flowing through the body, a cool, relaxing, healing energy. Just going through every cell and every atom in the body. Healing along the way. Revitalizing down to the very atoms in your body. Feeling new and refreshed and renewed as this cool healing energy just continues to flow through you and over you. And just feel that energy just forming right down into the ground with all the energy that's no longer needed. Anything that may have been bothering you, things that were about to bother you, don't let it take hold. Wash it away. So wash it all away. And then begin to feel beautiful, white, pure light coming in through the top of your head, filling all the spaces that are now open with healing, positive, peaceful, wonderfully revitalized energy. As you feel your body getting stronger and stronger every day in every way. And just keep that vision with you as you come into your waking state. And on the count of 3, you can open your eyes feeling fully refreshed and cleansed on 1, 2, and 3. And you're back in the room, back in your body. So thank you again, everyone. If you want more information about Rebecca Roseberry, it is on the Facebook page. I will also put it on the on my webpage, which you should have if you're getting this by email. Otherwise, it is on the Facebook page as well. It is www.mindbodyhealing.biz, and just look for this spiritual group, and a lot of this information will be in there for you. And I look forward to seeing you next week. I'm sorry, next month, but some of you hopefully will look into the class that I'm giving to release the chaos. Otherwise, we will see each other on St. Patty's Day. Thanks again. Have a good night, everyone.